All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're ready to rock and roll today. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am super duper excited. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Ramon Preston Show. If you're coming on, please do me a quick favor. Put in the comments what city you're watching me from today. Please put in the comments what city you're watching me from today. It's a beautiful, pretty much rainy day here in the Buckhead community of Atlanta. But we are still here on this Millionaire Monday. You know, Monday is my favorite day of the work week, and I'm super excited because today we're going to be doing a quick week recap on our web class that we hosted this past Saturday. So if you're coming on, thank you for joining me today on the Ramon Preston Show. Welcome. Please put in the comments what city you're watching your boy from, because we are here, right here in the beautiful Buckhead community of Atlanta, live. Ramon Preston, the squad, and the Ramon Preston Show. Put in the comments what city you're watching me from today. What city are you watching me from today, so that we could get into our recap on our holding company web class that we just hosted this past Saturday. So I would love for you to put in the comments what city you're watching me from today. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Ramon Preston Show. If you don't know, now you know. I am your host, Ramon Preston, and every Monday through Friday, 12 o'clock noon Eastern Standard Time, I really enjoy taking some time out of my schedule to show up on the Ramon Preston Show right here live, and to give you information, to give you the game, to share things with you that I know can help you properly start, structure, and scale your business, your ministry, your income stream, or your wealth building dreams. Maybe you're like me, you do all of the above. Maybe you have a business, a ministry, a nonprofit, or whatever, but it really doesn't matter. When it comes to business, entrepreneurial, and financial success, it requires a high level of education and training. It requires a lot of strategies and solutions, and it requires a commitment to be consistent with this information over long periods of time. And so it's always a delight for me to come on this show and to just give you incremental pieces of data that I know has changed my life. Some of you probably have already heard my story, but just in case you haven't, just within the last 19 years, my wife and I, we have been full-time entrepreneurs. We've been full-time ministers. We do both. But on the business side, we've been in entrepreneurship for 19 years now. And full-time, meaning that every day for the last 19 years, I've had to wake up and figure out how to make money, how to monetize, how to build something sustainable and successful for me and for my family, so that I can make a living, so that I can take care of my family and be free to do things like this. And so after 19 years, I have taken all the principles, all the concepts, all the formulas, all the strategies, all the solutions, and I've packaged all my experience, all of my success in the form of courses, online courses, in the form of programs like our coaching program, in the form of consulting services, and in the form of this show, and things that I represent on this show, like our web class that we just hosted this past Saturday. So I don't give you information that I haven't tried, that I haven't experimented with, that I haven't used. And if I tried it, experimented with it, and used it, and it didn't work, I ain't sharing it with you. So with that being said, you can rest assured that what I give you on this show, Monday through Friday, is information that I'm living, information that I'm working to perfect, and that I'm packaging it in a way that you can understand it, you can take it, and you can succeed from it. Which, by the way, if you are in ministry, if you're a pastor, if you're a preacher, if you are a nonprofit executive, or if you have some type of parachurch or a church-controlled organization, I really want to just add this piece in this conversation. You need to understand that your success in ministry or in your church is a reflection of your character. It's a reflection of your reputation and your credibility. So there is a business element to what you're doing, no matter how you agree or disagree with it, no matter what people think about it. When you do ministry, when you do nonprofit work, community service, whatever it is, or if you're just pastoring a church, or you're just a preacher, a traveling evangelist, or an itinerant minister, you need to understand that there's a business element to that. There's a financial element to that. And you should want to make your congregation proud. You should want to make your donors proud. You should want to make the people you serve in your community proud by putting an infrastructure together that works, that is successful, and that is sustainable. Now, if you ain't in nonprofit, church, community service, but you're an entrepreneur, or you work a job and you're doing a side hustle, whether it's network marketing, or you got a real estate license, or you're an insurance agent, or you're just trying to figure out how to make some extra money on the side by doing things on your day off, you need to legitimize that. People respect you when you put your business together the right way. I know a lot of people right now, they do things on their day off. Or let's say if they work Monday through Friday, Saturday and Sunday, they do stuff on the side, whether it's cut hair, whether it's do hair, whether it's makeup, whether it's, selling Avon or something on the side, or Mary Kay. The problem with that a lot of times is people don't respect you as a legitimate entrepreneur and business owner because you haven't done your due diligence to put a real business together. So the things that I'm talking to you about on this show are things that can help you level up, things that can help you become a professional as an entrepreneur, to become a professional as a business owner. Because if you just doing some shade tree stuff and you just doing a little side hustle, gigging from here to there, and you just trying to piece things together to make a couple extra dollars, I'm telling you, it's hurting your character and your credibility as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as a professional, because people can't take you serious. So with that being said, today, I really wanted to do a little recap. Just in case you missed it, this past Saturday, December the 3rd, from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m., I hosted a 2-hour web class on holding companies and creative tax strategies. So if you were able to make it, I want to say thank you to all of you who made it. It was a great web class. I did a lot of good teaching and educating and training for 2 hours on holding companies, on creative tax strategies. We had a lot of amazing questions that people asked, and we had a lot of good interaction. And I'm looking forward to doing business with you. If you were on there and you're not a part of any of our programs, I'm looking forward to doing business with you, because I really want to help you properly start, properly structure, properly scale your business, ministry, income streams, and wealth building dreams. And guess what? If you're serious about being successful, if you're serious about becoming a millionaire, if you're serious about financial freedom, if you're serious about building a legitimate organizational enterprise, I promise you that your seriousness is going to show up in how you educate and train. If you're not serious about educating yourself, if you're not serious about training and becoming the best at whatever it is that you do, you're not serious about success. You're not serious about financial freedom. You definitely ain't serious about becoming a millionaire, because success in business, success in money is directly connected to education and training. I'm telling you, this is why I always talk about education and training, not just because I'm an educator and trainer, because I'm definitely a teacher at heart. I'm definitely an educator and a trainer. I love to educate and train people. I love putting principles and concepts together. I love helping people strategize and come up with the right solutions for whatever it is that they're doing. But I'm telling you this, outside of me being a teacher and an educator and trainer, getting education about business, getting education about money, and a lot of this education I had to figure out myself in the last 19 years, but I promise you that it was and is by far the most valuable thing that I have done, because it has determined just about all of my success. Because everything that I'm sharing with you right now, it's not like I knew this 19 years ago. I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I knew I wanted to be financially free. I knew I wanted to be successful. I knew I wanted to run a legitimate business. I know I wanted to have something in life and to be able to provide opportunities for people and for my family. I wanted those things, but I really didn't know how to make those things happen until I started reading books, hundreds and hundreds of books at this point, probably a couple thousand. I started educating myself on how to be a business owner. I started learning a lot of the sophisticated principles and concepts that wealthy people use. I started my journey, and 19 years later, everything that I have accomplished is directly connected to the fact that I'm willing to educate myself, and I still educate myself every day. And so if you're serious about success, if you're serious about making money, if you're serious about being financially free and becoming a millionaire, you gotta equally be serious about educating yourself. So it ain't no exception to the rule. It ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And don't give me no lame excuse talking about, well, I watch you on YouTube every day. That ain't good enough. That ain't good enough. My business mentor, someone who I pay tens of thousands of dollars to learn from and to get access to and to be around and to be in their community on a regular basis. Even though I'm in his community, I still have to pay thousands of dollars to be around him, to get access to his information, his platform, even though I can watch him on YouTube. Even though I can watch him on social media, but that's not the same. It's just not the same. You cannot compare getting information on the internet through YouTube or any other channel or a podcast. You cannot compare that to being able to be in close proximity, to get insights and inside information and to have access to talk to people and communicate with a team. You cannot compare the two. It's incomparable. Trust me when I tell you, you ain't got to trust me. Just keep living and you'll see that there's still something missing. I know people right now that I talk to who have never paid for a coach. They ain't never been in a coaching program. They've never paid for the right information, whether it's online courses or webinars or master classes or masterminds, and they're still struggling with getting through certain bumps and barriers in their business, and they're trying to figure out what the problem is. And I be telling them the problem is you're not held accountable. You're not a part of an accountability program. You need to be in a community where you're being held accountable. You're being pushed to train and study and educate yourself every day. And you're also being held accountable to show up to meetings, to show up to sessions, to show up to events so that you can continue to keep that momentum. If you do not have that, I already know your success has a limitation, because even if you're doing good for yourself, you're still not reaching your full potential. See, this is something I had to learn. This is something I had to learn. For years, even though I started 19 years ago as an entrepreneur, back then, I really didn't understand coaching. I didn't understand that the concept of what coaching is right now, mentorship is. I really didn't understand it 19 years ago. Of course, we didn't have smartphones, we didn't have apps, we didn't have social media. So it's a lot of stuff that we didn't have 19 years ago, and it made it harder. So back then, when my wife and I started 19 years ago, we was in real estate. And, you know, there were a few people on TV. You would watch the little infomercials, Russ Whitney, Carlton Sheets. You know, we had a few people that you would see on the internet. But I guess you just didn't trust. Do I pay for it? Do I call this toll-free number and pay for them to send me the CDs? And so a lot of times we didn't do it. Now, I've gone to certain events here in Atlanta back in 2003 and 2004 and 2005. You know, used to have people that come to the city, like the Russ Whitneys, and they would have these free events. Some of y'all might remember them. And you go to the free seminar and you sit there for about an hour and a half. It's kind of like going to a timeshare. And they give you this big presentation. But the problem is the person who was on TV never showed up. And it was so much going on. You know, they would give you this spiel, and then it's like they want you to come to the back of the room. It was, you know, it was a sales fest. But if you are like intelligent and you're sharp and you're on top of your game, you might be real reluctant to do that. Okay, but of course I did buy into a few of those real estate related programs in the past. I still got all my, 3-ring binders in my storage right now. I still got my CD-ROMs and all the stuff that they give you, and you just go through it, but it still wasn't the same. Now I'm bringing this up even in light of this recap, because you don't want to just get educated about business, about holding companies, about tax strategies. You want to get engaged. Do you understand what I'm saying? You want to get engaged. And I think that's a good teaching point for all of you who just love watching everybody on social media, okay? And you want educated. You want to get educated. You want to get educated about business. You want to get educated about money. You want to get educated about credit, about getting funding for your business, about real estate investing, all these things. But your education, let me move this and let me put this. Your education needs engagement. Do you understand what I'm saying? Your education needs engagement. I'm telling you, for years, I self-educated. For years, I read hundreds of books. I studied, I researched, I experimented. I spent money on practicing and trying different things and creating formulas, because I'm an educator at heart. So it was a little easier for me to do it. Everybody's not an educator. But I started getting to a point, let's say around 2014, 2015, 2016, I started getting to this point to where I felt like, man, I can't go no further. My wife and I, we were making 6 figures at the time, but I just felt like, man, I cannot break this barrier. What is the problem? And that's when I started around 2016. I kind of hit my plateau, and I was like, man, I'm done with this. Something got to give. I'm ready to shift. And that's really when I started doing my internet research, and I realized that, oh wow, they got coaching programs available, they got mentorship, mastermind groups. There are different businesses and influencers and people on social media who have done the things that I want to do, and they actually have products and programs and services that I can buy, even though I understood it a little bit, but I didn't know it was as relevant as it is today. I didn't know I had options like I did, because again, 19 years ago, you might have had 2 or 3 people on TV doing infomercials. Back in 2016, when I really started doing my research, you might have had 100,000 different people on social media doing this kind of stuff. And I had to fight my ego. I had to really push through the mental barrier of you can do it yourself. Ramon, you can figure it out. You've always figured it out. But there were some things I had to accept that I don't need to figure out. Somebody else has figured it out. And so my education needed engagement. And even today, as much as I teach, as much information I provide, as many courses and programs that I have in my own platform, and I do all the things that a lot of these gurus and internet, moguls do. I do some of the same things, coaching, consulting, and education. But I can still honestly say, what gives me the most momentum, what gives me the most fuel is the fact that I can continue to educate myself, because I'm learning from people who are so further ahead. They have gone so far up that road, and my education, it has engagement. So now I can be coached, I can be mentored, I can be trained. It is a game changer, okay? So this is kind of like my introduction for the first 30 minutes of today's show. And I really wanted to take time to talk about it, whether you're bored hearing this or not, because you want to learn some other things. You really need to digest what I'm saying, because if you are one of those people who you're serious about being successful, you're serious about being financially free, you're serious about becoming a millionaire, you have to be just as serious about educating yourself on those things. You have to get educated about business systems and processes, about infrastructure, about creative tax strategies, about financial systems. You have to learn these things. And if you can educate yourself on these things and connect that education to engagement, because you can be coached, you could be mentored, you could be held accountable, it is going to accelerate your business. All right. So I took the first 28 minutes or so to talk to you a little bit about that, just to help get you mentally involved with moving forward and not just being a spectator on social media. Everybody's on social media spectating. They watch people like me and never do what people like me do because they never make that connection. So this past Saturday, even if you missed it, I hosted a 2-hour web class. And this web class was on holding companies and creative tax strategies. And so I think I probably taught on maybe 3 different modules with regard to the holding company, and maybe 2 or 3 different modules with regard to creative tax strategies. So I think I might have taught about 2 hours on 5 or 6 different modules. But here's the thing. Just on my online courses, I have probably 125 modules on holding companies and creative tax strategies. I only taught about 5 or 6 of them this past Saturday. And so we talked about what a holding company is and things that you need to work on when you're starting a holding company. Now, for me, the reason why I always put so much emphasis on starting a holding company is because if you are interested in being in business, okay, just starting an operating business is good, but it's not always the best way to build a successful organizational enterprise. So an operating business is basically any business that you start that you're using to operate in the marketplace, to sell products and services. So whether you have a digital business, a physical business, whether it's a brick and mortar, whether it's certain products you sell, certain services you provide, it doesn't matter. Any business that's out there operating to make transactions, to make money, is categorically considered to be an operating business. But I believe if you're going to start and run an operating business, it's always to your best interest to use the holding company concept in the beginning so that it can make your organizational enterprise more efficient and ultimately more successful. It doesn't mean you can't just have one operating business and be successful, but what it means is at a certain point in your business building, you're probably going to run into some glitches. If you're an entrepreneur that's creative and have a lot of ideas, you're going to run into a lot of seasons of uncertainty, not really knowing how to pivot because you are limited to just this operating business, because this operating business can either be your floor or this operating business can be your ceiling. Does that make sense? This can be your floor or this can be your ceiling. So I like to make the operating business the floor. I want the operating business to be the floor. I do not want the operating business, I don't even know how to spell ceiling. I don't spell it that much. I don't want your operating business to be the ceiling, because when your operating business is the ceiling, here are you. You're stuck under this operating business. And let's say if your operating business is apparel, let's say if you sell apparel like this Next Level apparel brand, right? If that's what your operating business consists of and it's your ceiling because you don't have a different infrastructure built, well, what happens when you get bored with apparel? What happens when you ain't making no money off apparel? What happens when you're ready to pivot into something else? What are you going to do? Well, most likely you're either going to pivot and leave this business. Now you've done all this work for nothing, or you're going to just stay here and stay stuck and be miserable, be depressed, give up, and probably just let it go. So I want you not to use your operating business as a ceiling. I want you to use it as a floor. And I want you to create a holding company, even though you feel like you're not sophisticated enough to have this type of business infrastructure, but this at least puts you in a position so that you can stay free at the top to think, to come up with new ideas. And even if this operating business doesn't do anything, it's not your ceiling, it is your floor. It is just something you're doing, but you're always free to run your ideas through your holding company so that you can start pivoting. So this is one of the main things I talked about this past Saturday in our free web class. And I'm going to give you access to that free web class if you really want to go back and watch the replay. We've already put it back up on our platform, and we're going to make it available for free. What we typically do when we host events, live, in person, or virtual, we host the event, then we take the information, and then we put it on our paid platform for all of our paid students. But this holding company and creative tax strategy web class that I did Saturday, I wanted to at least keep it open for you, just in case you missed it Saturday. In real time, you can go back, watch the replay, and I have the forms for this workbook that I covered. I have it in the module, so you're able to go sign up, take advantage of watching this 2-hour deep dive, learning this information, and really being able to put yourself in the best business and financial position before 2022 comes to a close. And so this whole week, I'm going to do my best to talk about a few of the things that we covered in our web class, because this was one of the main things that we covered on a holding company. Like, what exactly is a holding company? Some people are not familiar with holding companies. I personally don't think the people who know about them, I personally don't think they don't talk about them enough. I probably am like one of the few people, I might be the only person who talk about it as much as I talk about it on the internet today. And I have a lot of clients that tell me that. I have so many people that come to me and say, man, ain't nobody really talking about the holding company as much as you talk about it. Ain't nobody giving as much information about the holding company as you are. Ain't nobody putting courses together as much as you put courses and content and videos and tutorials and documents together to understand the holding company the way you do. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. The good thing about it is you can get access to the information. So that's exactly what the infrastructure of a holding company looks like, because a holding company is typically an LLC. So you don't necessarily have to have an S Corp or a C Corp created to have a holding company. Your holding company can be a LLC. The good thing about your holding company being a LLC is if it needs to be treated differently as a different type of entity, your tax person can do that when they file your taxes. But the primary purpose of a holding company is to literally hold. It's to hold. That's what it's supposed to be doing. It's supposed to be holding. It's supposed to be holding other businesses, other investments, and other assets. That's why you have the word holding in holding company. Because if you have your holding company set up the right way, it is going to hold businesses. It's going to hold other investments. It's going to hold other assets. And this is how you want your business infrastructure to be built. I was just telling them Saturday on the web class that a lot of the big companies that you see exist today, Google is an example. There was a time Google was Google and YouTube was YouTube, and then they merged together. They created Alphabet, a holding company, and they put Google and they put YouTube under the holding company Alphabet. But again, that was years after they became a multi-billion, probably $1 trillion company. So a lot of these big global public companies, they don't do all this stuff in the beginning. Like Facebook is Facebook, and then they just start Facebook and they grow and they blow up, and then when they get to a certain point, they transition over to Meta. You get what I'm saying? They create some type of holding company. Even with Sam Walton, He started Walmart, then he started Sam's Club, and then his family now has Walton Enterprises. So it's not like people start out with the holding company in the beginning. Some do. The JP Morgans of the world, the Bank of Americas of the world, Berkshire Hathaway, it operates similar to that. And so a lot of companies do start out as holding companies, and some of them don't. But the reason why I like to encourage startups and small business owners to start this way is because, number one, it gives you the leverage, it gives you the flexibility, it gives you the freedom that you need, so that while you're coming up with ideas, you're not stuck and limited to an operating business. And most entrepreneurs like me, you probably want to know what the bigger picture looks like, even though you ain't even ready to have the bigger picture. You might be like me. I don't want somebody to just give me pieces of information. I want to know all of it. And then I want to make the decision on what do I need to start. Because if I get in a car and I'm traveling somewhere, I don't want to just be traveling and I don't know where I'm going. I hate driving like that. I hate it. The other day, me and my wife was going somewhere, and she was on the phone talking to the person, just making sure we had the right directions. It was a client that we were going to their property. And I was like, man, just write it all out and give me the whole directions. That'll be much easier for me, because at least I know where I'm going. But I couldn't get it because she was on the phone, so I had to drive, and I'm getting to stoplights and stop signs, and I'm waiting for her to tell me, okay, go left here, go right here. I don't want to run my business like that. And so having a holding company, it really frees you up. It gives you that flexibility. It gives you that leverage so that you can have a better idea of what you need to be doing while you build your business. So it doesn't mean that you're not going to be focusing on your operating business. It just means that you at least have some type of company infrastructure set up to know that there is potential. There is a possibility to grow and to expand. And so this past Saturday, we talked about what a holding company is. And I gave a few things that I'll just share with you very quickly that you should be working on when you're starting your enterprise. Okay, so I'm gonna give you these seven things to work on when you're starting your enterprise. Now, I like using the word enterprise because, again, I don't want you to just be focusing on starting a single operating business. It's okay for you to start a single operating business if that's what you want to do. But if you sat down with me and I was consulting you and coaching you in business, and you said, Ramon, I'm ready to start a business. Here's what I want to do. I want to start an apparel line. I want to start a nail company. I want to open up a boutique, or I want to start real estate investing, or whatever the business is that you want to do. I would, in a perfect world, tell you the first thing you need to do is start a holding company, and then whatever that operating business is that you want to have, I want us to put that under your holding company. So I'm going to always tell you to go that route for a lot of different reasons. So HC is for holding company, OC is for operating company. I'm going to tell you to do that. I'm going to tell you to go at it that way. And even if you say, yeah, but Ramon, I don't want a holding company. I just want to sell t-shirts, or I just want to landscape, or I just want to paint, or I just want to, provide this service. I want to clean houses, whatever the business is. I would tell you, if you really want to start and build an enterprise, something that can be beyond you, something that won't just be dependent upon you, and something that you won't be imprisoned by, you would want to create the holding company first and then your operating company, so that you can have that freedom and flexibility and leverage to pivot when you need to pivot. And so let's just assume you listened to me and you said, you know what, I want to either start fresh, or if you already have a LLC or two, I want to restructure my organization so that it can look like an enterprise. Here are the 7 things you need to work on, okay? I'm going to give you all 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The first thing you want to work on is the holding company. Okay? And I'm going to just write them all out and then we'll come back. Second thing is you want to work on your divisions. These are typically known as DBAs. Number 3, you want to work on your subsidiaries. Number 4, you want to work on your intellectual property. Number 5, you want to work on your copyrights, patents maybe, and trademarks. Number 6, you want to work on any investments that you have currently. We'll talk about that. And number 7, you want to work on any other assets that might be of value. So those are the 7 things that I would tell you to work on when you're starting your enterprise. And again, it doesn't mean you don't already have a business, but you might have an operating business. You might just have a business that you out there trying to make money using. You're trying to sell products. You're trying to provide a service. That's an operating business, but you don't have a holding company over it. If you wanted to rearrange it or initially structure it the right way so that it can be an enterprise, this is how you're going to restructure it or initially structure it. And these are the 7 things you need to work on. So number 1, you want to work on the holding company. So that means if you do not have a LLC yet, even if your business is an operating business, if you sat down with me, I would probably tell you, start LLC number 1 as the holding company. Then once LLC number 1 is legitimate, then we start LLC number 2 as the operating company. Like one of my coaching students who just recently joined my coaching program, we just walked him through this same process. He's got a certain service he wants to provide. He's right here in Buckhead, by the way. He's got a certain service he want to provide, certain business he want to do. And I told him, okay, you definitely want to have that business, but let's start your holding company first. So he came in after he signed up to our program. We walked him through that process. He got his holding company. A couple weeks later, came back just this past week, and he got his operating company, which is now owned by his holding company. So even though he's focusing at some point on getting business through his operating company, at least he has his infrastructure set up the correct way, if that makes sense to you. So you want to work on your holding company. If you already have multiple LLCs that already exist, maybe you can use one of those LLCs as your holding company. I'm not sure how you have it set up, so I would have to talk with you and sit down with you to help you figure it out. But just for you to know, if you have multiple LLCs that exist and you want to convert your organizational enterprise this way, you can always use one of those. Whether you start a new one or not, you may be able to use one of the ones you have. I just have to look at it and take some time to talk with you to see if that's the best route to take. The second thing you want to work on is your divisions. The reason why I bring up divisions is because a division is really an operational department that can run through your holding company. So even though you have a holding company and the primary purpose of your holding company is to hold other businesses, other investments, and other assets, right? But there are still operational divisions that are active under your holding company. You still got to do some type of business, even if the business you do in your holding company is through you and other businesses that you own. There's still business that you're going to do. So I like for you to focus on making sure that before you start a legal entity outside of your holding company, that you at least filter it first. Because what happens is if you don't filter your ideas through this division filter, what happens is every time you get an idea, you start a new LLC. Then you look up one day and you got like 15 different LLCs, but 13 of them ain't doing nothing, because 13 of them could have just been divisions that you were just experimenting with or doing research and development on until you got to number 3 and made that idea a legitimate subsidiary. So I always like to recommend that you work on your divisions. Look at some of the things that you're doing in your business and see, does it need to be a separate company? Is it risky? Is it that volatile? Or is it just something I'm making up and I'm not sure what I want to do with it yet? So instead of me getting another EIN, another set of systems and processes, another bank account, another set of articles of organization, let me just use it as a division or operating department in my holding company until I'm ready to convert it into a subsidiary. And that's number 3. Third thing you need to work on are your subsidiaries. Now, there are some industries that you might be doing an operating company in, you automatically want to separate it. Like if it's going to require you needing insurance and it's risky, you do not want to run anything that jeopardizes or compromises your investments and assets. You don't want to run that through your holding company. Okay? Some things you might be able to run through that, like if you're a consultant, if you're a coach, if you're an educator and you got some online courses, some of this stuff ain't even risky. It's virtual. These are not even real products and services. So it ain't risky. You can kind of get more insurance on your holding company, general liability insurance, and you could get professional insurance as a consultant. There are all types of insurances you can get to mitigate that risk. But there are some businesses that you do want to be separate, especially if it's real estate or if it's, outside work, construction, maintenance, a lot of different things you want to separate. Number 4, you want to work on your intellectual property. Now, you might think to yourself, I don't have no intellectual property. You're just saying that because you don't know what intellectual property is, or you don't understand how powerful IP is to you. Like, for example, if you are, and I like to just use basic examples. Let's say your operating company is a landscaping company, or let's say it is a apparel company. Okay, we're just going to use something simple as apparel. Let's say your operating company is as an apparel company, and you started a holding company, and your holding company owns your apparel company. Okay, so what is your intellectual property? Well, your IP can actually be how do you start an apparel company? What is the process of getting third-party vendors? How do you outsource the products? How do you ship your products? How do you provide customer service to people? How do you make sure the design, who does your designs? Who do you work with? So you can literally create intellectual property just for an apparel company based on your knowledge of starting and running an apparel company. You can literally have intellectual property teaching people how to become owners of an apparel business. So it's powerful. Everybody should be thinking about it. I tell my students and my clients all the time that you should look at your business, no matter what industry your business is in, you should be looking at your business as an educational institution. You should have an educational institution division in your business, no matter what your business is. Because if you're in business, you can teach people to do at least what you're doing, especially if you know what you're doing. Okay? Number 5, copyrights, patents, and trademarks. So, like, I've got everything that I do. Like, my whole business is an educational organization. So my staff gets trained on everything. We train our clients, our students. Even if I consult somebody can hire me as a consultant to help them. And once we assess their situation and put a project together for them and we finalize it, they're gonna have some follow-up education. I'm gonna give them some homework because I'm just the educator, right? But this is copyright. I can copyright all my educational content, my manuals, stuff that I put together, your trademarks. Your holding company might be a brand like my holding company, Ramon Preston Enterprises, the RP, my logo, it's a brand. Next Level, this is one of my businesses. It's a brand, it's a trademark. So these are all valuable assets that are owned under my holding company. Now, when I say investments, to work on your investments, it could get a little sophisticated there, because on one hand, if you have like retirement accounts, there are certain retirement accounts, and you have to speak to the administrators and people who hold your retirement accounts. But there are certain retirement accounts that you can create under your own business and roll your investments over to your own company. So you want to think about those things. And then other assets, there may be things that are valuable that you want to transfer the ownership to your business, okay? Whether it's cars that you got, or real estate, or equipment, things that have value, you can transfer the ownership of those things to your holding company, because what are you doing? You're starting and you're building organizational enterprise. Now, that's all I'm gonna talk about today. As I mentioned, this is just one, like literally, this is one page. This is one page of my web class that I hosted this past Saturday, and my web class only made up 2 hours of maybe 3 or 4, no more than maybe 5 different modules of information that make up hundreds of modules of courses and content that I have on my online platform. So think about it. If you go to my YouTube page, or if you're on my YouTube page, I probably have about 2,200 videos on YouTube alone. If you browse my YouTube page, you're going to find a couple thousand videos. Many of those videos are about business, entrepreneurship, investing, money, financial literacy, holding companies, and the list goes on and on. But I have an entire online educational training platform called Ramon Preston University, which is the home of the Millionaire Blueprint. The Millionaire Blueprint is a 1-year program that has nothing but information, hundreds and hundreds of videos and tutorials and documents and forms. And one of my signature courses in that program is on holding companies. So if you want access to that, of course, I would be more than happy to take a few minutes to talk with you to see where you are in your business and what exactly do you need to do to either initially structure your enterprise or restructure what you already have in your business so that it can look like an enterprise. And so I'll be more than happy to talk with you, to give you access to the courses and the content and the education and training that we have available, because I want to help you. I also have a mentorship program. So I mentor clients as a coach and as a consultant. We have a 1-year mentorship program. Imagine how far you can be a year from now if you were around this for 1 year. You would be a beast at it. Like, I've got clients who are in my coaching program. This is like their 2nd year in my program, and when you talk with them, you could tell they've been studying and training, and they've been held accountable because they sound like me, because they've learned these principles. They're putting these principles to practice, and these principles that are being put to practice are changing and transforming their lives. So I would love to have an opportunity to speak with you. If you need more information, all you have to do is simply text the word millionaire. Simply text the word millionaire to 404-478-7213. Again, if you are serious, if you're not serious, then you ain't gonna text anyway. But if you're serious about starting and structuring a legitimate holding company, having an organizational enterprise that you can be proud of, learning to put these principles to practice in your day-to-day life, I want to help you. And my programs, my educational program and my coaching program, is designed to help you become a millionaire. That's the bottom line for me. I want to create as many millionaires as I possibly can. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I heard one man say years ago, I never forgot it. It stuck with me because it really resonated with me as a person. I heard one man say, if you want to become a billionaire, figure out how to create millionaires. And I was like, now that was an easy statement. It's probably the hardest thing to do, but guess what? I'm up for the task. And so I've created an online training program called the Millionaire Blueprint to educate you for 1 year. I've taken my ability and my core competency as a business consultant and coach, and I put it in a program called a Millionaire Mentorship Program for 1 year. So either one of those programs, whether it's virtual or me physically coaching you, can really help excel your business and your finances. So I want you to reach out to me today. We're here. It's a little rainy, it's a little muggy here, but it's a beautiful Millionaire Monday, and this is a beautiful, perfect day for you to start training. We could get you trained, we could get you onboarded, we can schedule an initial session with me and you so that we can talk and put a real good game plan together to help excel your life. So thank you for joining the Ramon Preston Show today. Whatever it is that you heard while you've been on this live, would you put in the comments what your biggest takeaway was? Like, what was your biggest takeaway? What was the one thing you learned today that it opened your eyes up or it made you think differently? I would love for you to put that in the comments. Put in the comments what your biggest takeaway was. And I certainly look forward to hearing from you. Text Millionaire to 404-478-7213. I will be seeing you tomorrow. We'll be back here tomorrow. Same place, same time, right here on the Ramon Preston Show. Have an amazing Millionaire Monday.